Hello and welcome to Telecom Tuesday, where we go over what happened this week in the industry we work in, which is telecommunications. Why this intro makes no sense? I have to change it. You're watching a show called Telecom Tuesday, in which case the first thing I do is then explain what you're doing here. It's pretty freaking obvious. We'll fix that going into the future. Today is going to be a relatively fun day. As of this very second, the first polls in the United States have closed, so I'm from the States, so it's election day, so we care about that a lot. The world may think we're a bunch of idiots because we are. In any case, I'm interested to see what kind of chaos, because either direction the country goes, we're still screwed in some way, shape, or form. I wish I could say that's all I want to speak about the election, but it wouldn't be election day if a topic didn't include the technical failures of what's going on today. And I remember first thing I saw when I woke up this morning was a Facebook group I am in of just the local people in this community pretty much complaining that every single machine that was doing voting was broken this morning. And about 4 hours into it, they got one machine working. And you know, I know that there's going to be technical issues in general. We work in the technical industry. There's going to be problems, especially when you need this many things working at such a large scale. But, you know, to no one's surprise, you know, counties are having issues across the United States. A particular fun one I saw that said 5 out of 6 voting machines turned Republican tickets into straight Democratic tickets. I find that hilarious and sad and terrifying all at the same time. Of course, they say they fixed the problem, and that's the election, folks. It's happening. It's how it affects us. I don't really think matters, because none of the topics on any of the debates or any major important topics that pertain to our industry were brought up during any part of this. The only interesting thing that was brought up was the fact that Russia apparently stole all those emails in order to corrupt the election. Which may or may not be true. Please stand by. I'm having some fun technical difficulties at this moment. I was really hoping my computer wouldn't do this in the middle of the presentation. It had been fine for so long, but right now my computer's been doing this thing where every couple of hours it will just hang for about 30 seconds, and it's still there. Like, I can still see like the mic audio meter moving, but my face is frozen, and all of my web browsers and stuff are frozen. Okay, there we go. Suddenly things start working again. Sorry about that. So that leads us into a decent segue of a cyber war that America is apparently prepping for, or Obama is apparently prepping for, which is relatively interesting to our industry. You know, there's a lot of conspiracy theories out there that the dying DNS thing we talked about 2 weeks ago in this show, where the internet went down because of a DDoS attack, a very large DDoS attack on dying DNS, that was caused by some, you know, state agency, and it's entirely possible. And essentially, what has happened is Obama has basically put forth a statement saying that if for some reason Russia decides to try and mess with America from a technical cyber warfare perspective during this election, that they are more than well equipped to handle that. I'm going as far to sort of outline that we have stuff. In fact, here we'll just go through it and see. You know, we have penetrated the electrical grid. That's important. Telecom networks. That's important. Command systems. And they're pretty much vulnerable to attack at any time that we feel necessary, which I feel like we kind of knew, you know, we being us, like, surely America's doing something on the cyber warfare initiative. We're not just receiving all these attacks and doing nothing. I do find it kind of positive that we should hopefully have all these things in place and prepared for a cyber war, which is happening and is going to happen eventually. And that we've sort of kept our mouth shut about it, which I think is good. I'm hoping that we don't have to be reactive, and I'm hoping that we just sort of up our infrastructure game to defend America in case some type of cyber strike or a coordinated another DDoS attack on some telecom infrastructure that's core to most of the way America communicates today. If that stuff went down, not only would it be detrimental to the election, but it would also be detrimental to any and all American systems that operate today. So if you do one of those things long enough, and if it targets America in a way that it only affects us geographically, you can impact our business and our government operations. And so it's good to know that we've kind of taken that seriously. But a good thing to remember from a consultative standpoint, that security has multiple facets. You have prevention, which is the obvious one that everyone's concerned about. But then you have reaction. You have to have plans and strategies in place with your infrastructure, IT infrastructure, or political infrastructure, or your business infrastructure, that when a tragic event happens, in this case a cyber attack, but in our case it could be toll fraud, it could be our corporate machines being used by a botnet, it could be a cryptovirus, that you have a strategy and a plan of action following that event. You can put all the best laid plans into effect and say that no, we're not gonna have this problem, and that would be ignorant, because if you do have that problem, then you're not prepared and you look really bad. You're not truly prepared to defend against an attack unless you're prepared to have that attack happen to you. So that's sort of the lesson learned from this story, and I will segue off of the election mindset into something slightly more technical. All right. AT&T, Colt, and Orange have a virtualization party. Appropriate image, right? Essentially, AT&T held a contest. And they said, and this also came up, I think 2 weeks ago, AT&T needs software-defined networking and advanced routing, automated pragmatic, I think that's the word, routing in their environment, and virtualized routing. And they need to be able to do this on a very large scale to add value to their companies that use their service. To give you an idea of how bad it is now, so here's a scenario. I'm a customer, I want to work with AT&T. I have a facility out in, I don't know, Arizona somewhere. Doesn't matter. And I want service. Today, if there isn't already routers and equipment plugged into that station, okay, even better scenario, there already are AT&T equipment at that station. You're looking at 30 to 60 days of turn-up time. And that is in a established, created area that already has circuits and stuff brought into it. If it doesn't have those circuits into it, but they can be brought to it, or it's just a cross-connect away, you're still looking at least 30 to 60 days, probably closer to 90. And I have a customer I'm consulting for right now who wanted to use AT&T, and without divulging too much, they have a business need of getting stuff in a very short time frame. In fact, they have 6 months to do their entire project, which means that having 90 days of that being waiting for the provider is a very bad thing. And they were trying to get some circuits out in a foreign country, and the lead time for that was 3 months to 6 months just to get those circuits in. So these are the kind of delays you as a business experience, and subsequently affects your business. You can't move forward with that location without these services, and they take forever to get in. And AT&T is kind of leveraging or hoping to leverage software-defined networking and virtualized infrastructure to lower that time to implementation, and hopefully add greater value and versatility to the customers that use AT&T, giving it a major plus when you compare it to all the other providers that are out there, which is great. But you'll remember that my narc on AT&T a few weeks ago was that, why haven't you done this already? Why haven't you started working on this? Makes slightly more sense now that they're apparently, you know what, no, it doesn't make any sense. They could have been doing this in-house. They are a huge company. Instead, they held a little contest and said, hey guys, make some cool stuff. We'll pick the one that's the coolest and we'll use you, instead of building it in-house, which is valid. It's a good strategy. It keeps them in their niche. But and I guess it's a good thing, because they're saying that they're not developers. But I ask you, if they're not developers and they can't make the technology. How are they supposed to support the technology? It can't be a partnership forever. Someone's going to have to buy something. Someone's going to have to buy somebody else, or they're going to have to move all that stuff and technology in-house and build it themselves, which I bet the latter is going to happen once they prove through some proof of concept using these partners that it's a good thing for us, the consumer. But subsequently, that's going to result in months, if not years, of waiting for them to redevelop crap that's already been done just to flush this company down the toilet like AT&T loves to do. And yeah, so I'm hopeful, and I'm glad to see some major providers talking more and more about this and getting other companies involved to develop more and more for this. I think that's great. But as long as it's trapped tightly within AT&T's organization, it doesn't have that much great of a good on the industry, and it won't until they have it pushed out in some final form. This contest stuff is just cloak and dagger. And speaking of proprietary stuff being a problem, let's talk open source for a second. So Red Hat, and I can't remember who the representative was from Red Hat, Daryl Jordan Smith, apparently, who's their VP of Worldwide Sales for Red Hat, is basically saying that OpenStack is an opportunity for, they say telcos, between us it's a great platform for really anybody looking to move quickly in the cloud space. But essentially, it would allow the telcos to have something to build their infrastructure on that is versatile. And that's going to be important when you talk about those companies and those initiatives from the previous article. Because if your infrastructure doesn't move as swiftly as your software, you're not going to move very quick at all. It's still going to be a hardware battle. And for those that don't know, OpenStack is basically an open source cloud initiative where you have really quick and easy provisioning of hardware, software onto hardware, operating systems onto servers, and there's another one that just left me. Containers and container deployments, and the transferring of those things to different points in your network as they are seen necessary, and the expansion and subtraction of resources dedicated to those things as they are seen necessary, which pairs very well with the software-defined networking stuff. If you have a router dedicated for, let's say, Arizona again, and it has X amount of capacity, but the infrastructure could be expanded or is variable so that it can have additional stuff added to it easily, or it can be versatile in that the infrastructure for this one router could be performing different tasks or be capable of performing different tasks. In that scenario, where you have a 6 customers come in at once who want to share this virtual router, or 600 actually is probably a better factor of scale for this. Today, you'd actually have to upgrade the entire infrastructure. You'd have to somehow remove the physical chassis that's doing that routing, replace it, reconfigure it, and hope it syncs with the rest of the network and doesn't take down the people who are currently connected to it. All of that sucks, and it makes for very slow-moving changes in organizations, which is what AT&T is hopefully trying to fix. But if you have a more versatile virtual backend, you could expand that on the fly. So if you suddenly have 600 new customers, you could reprovision the infrastructure that's there to apply more to those customers. Or if you need more infrastructure, you slide more cards in, or you throw more servers at it. The pool gets bigger. You don't have to reconfigure or rip and replace anything. You just say, go use those new resources that are at your disposal, and it will go and do it. That is pretty much the future, and the reason why virtualization is a good thing. Has to be implemented correctly, though, and AT&T doesn't trust themselves to do it, so they're asking someone else for help, which I guess is fine. Just get it done, AT&T. Just get it done. Okay, and another good segue to the cloud. So Telefonica, I think that's how you say that, and Nokia embark on a virtual route to the cloud. So I didn't know this. Nokia has created a virtual router, a virtual service router that they call a VSR. And that does what I just mentioned. It is a router that can be installed entirely in software and is able to scale and adjust to whatever infrastructure demands exist today and tomorrow in particular. and they are tooting their horn big time because they got an ISP to actually use their equipment. And what they've done is they've used one of them. And they are tooting their horn big time, like it is the biggest deal in the world. And I think it actually kind of is, because I'm not sure I can think of any other providers. There probably are some using virtual infrastructure, period. And of everywhere, it's Telefonica. I'm not even sure how large they are. But they're looking to grow, and as they were looking to grow, they had an investment opportunity. So they looked into and ended up buying the virtual routing software from Nokia, which I need to dig more into Nokia. Apparently, I didn't know that they were even developing routers. But that actually went, I think it was in their core. We should be able to double check that here. Deployed integrated 1 PE in the international backbone. Yeah, okay, so it's in their core. And that's awesome. Means that it's going to be in a place that could scale and descale and adjust rapidly, which is a great place to start. In order to put it in, you do have the first rip and replace. You have to remove the thing that was doing it before, install the new one. So as far as projects go and proof of concepts, this is a pretty substantial one. It took a lot of effort to put it in, a lot of effort to program it, and hopefully not a lot of effort to support it if it's doing its job right. It should just chug along and do a good thing. But if we hear Telefonica fall off the edge of the world in the next few days, we'll know it's Nokia's fault, and they will again have a problem because they partnered with the wrong people. Microsoft phone. Actually, they didn't partner with them, did they? They bought them. I think did Nokia make it first and then buy it? And then, either way, I hope the best for Nokia, and I think it's cool that they've developed this. And truthfully, that's all there really is today. There's not always some really cool stuff to talk about in our industry like there are, in the rest of the IT space. But it's good to stay apprised of the moves and changes in the industry and what's going on. I thank you for joining me for that. If you have any thoughts or ideas on how I can improve this show, please leave a comment down below. If you would like to join me on the show, maybe add some more dialogue, maybe add some more topics of interest, again, leave a comment. We'll get in touch. We'll figure it out. But thank you for watching. I'm Chris Morin with Technology Accelerated, and I hope you have